What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Casual Wrestling Podcast, the #1 rated wrestling podcast for casual wrestling fans. I am Nerdy D, and I am joined tonight by my better half, LevelUp Lauren.
What's up, y'all?
You guys are part of the CWC, and we have a lot to talk about tonight. Each week, we dive deeper into 4 of wrestling's biggest questions. If you like what you hear, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons or add us on your favorite podcast network. Tonight, we are talking about the best matches to introduce new wrestling fans to WWE, discussing the fall of AEW, and giving our Fastlane predictions. But before that, we have a little bit of housekeeping to talk about. The Casual Wrestling merch is live on the new casualwrestling.com. Make sure to check that out. This week, the schedule was a little bit out of whack because I was in Dallas on Tuesday and didn't get back till late Wednesday night. So we are like a day and a half behind. But next week, everything will line back up on the schedule. And for the foreseeable future, I think the Champ and the Chick will post on Mondays, the Raw post show on Tuesdays, the Casual Wrestling show on Thursdays, and the SmackDown post show on Saturdays. Unless there's a premium live event, then it will be Sunday. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the schedule going forward. It just kind of shifts everything. After editing everything, it pushes everything back a little bit. They were getting posted early in the morning, but they'll just get posted kind of later in the day for each show. So that's pretty much it. Let's jump right into it, Lauren. We had a little bit of a discussion in the Discord the other day, and it was interesting to me because I think it really kind of gave me an interesting perception of how different wrestling fans actually view the hierarchy of professional wrestling. And when I say that, what I mean is the hierarchy of how television shows stack up for professional wrestling. Because now, as far as I know, not getting into the trenches of like deep cut wrestling, you have SmackDown, you have Raw, you have NXT, you have AEW, Collision, and Dynamite, you have New Japan Pro Wrestling, and you have Impact Wrestling.
Yes.
So those, and so the conversation that went on in the Discord was there seemed to be certain people who think that the hierarchy goes, all WWE, then AEW, SmackDown, Raw, NXT are all together. I wanted to get your take on how you think those shows stack up, because you are the most casual of casual fans. When I talk about the definition of a casual wrestling fan, I know I fall very close to that line of being out of casual while still maintaining casual watching habits. But you will watch one week, you'll take a week off, you'll catch up with recaps. So I want to see, how do you view that structure from top to bottom?
Okay. So like you may start with what I think is number 1.
Yeah. So what is the top tier wrestling show that if you could only watch one, what are you watching every week?
So for me right now, it's Raw. Only because I was looking at like the roster and everything. Like, they've got Gunther, they've got Becky Lynch. As much as I don't love Dominic Mysterio, he's great for TV. Mm-hmm. Dominic Mysterio. Then it goes SmackDown. It's kind of everybody else, right? Okay. Of course, it's going to be the second WWE show.
Third, you have.
Now, I was torn because like I would have gone NXT, but I don't really watch NXT. So
I want you to, when you're doing this, take yourself out of what you watch and just what you perceive.
Okay. So if we're doing it that way, then
it's not what
NXT.
You watch. Okay, so you have NXT third.
Mm-hmm. Then it's AEW.
Okay.
Then it's Impact Wrestling. And then New Japan Wrestling is last because I have no idea what the fuck is on there.
Okay, and so that's how you perceive the hierarchy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting because that's different than how I perceive the hierarchy. And let me explain to you why I perceive it a certain way and see where you disagree with what I say. So SmackDown to me is the top show. As long as Roman Reigns is on that show and it's 2 hours of wrestling, to me, that is the sweet spot of that's the show you want to be on as far as I'm concerned. You want to be on Roman's show. I think that I just feel like when you start breaking it down superstar by superstar, Charlotte Flair's there, Bianca Belair's there.
Well, maybe I was looking at the wrong list.
Roman Reigns. No, it's okay. I don't, because here's what I will tell you as far as I'm concerned. Raw and SmackDown are interchangeable. They're the top of the. So if I'm.
Well, anything WWE, yeah. I mean.
So if I'm stacking the pyramid, I'd say Raw and SmackDown are definitely interchangeable. I just prefer SmackDown. I like 2 hours. Seth Rollins is kind of the main feature of Monday Night Raw. Not a big Seth Rollins guy, but just seeing it from a standpoint of kind of removing names, I think SmackDown's the top. Mm-hmm. Then I think it's Raw. This is where I disagree with what you said. You said NXT is third.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to defend that to me a little bit, and not from the sense of like you have to defend it, but I want to get deeper and understand why you think NXT is third, because as far as I'm concerned, here's what AEW is to me. AEW is a spectrum that ranges all the way from underneath Raw to all the way down to Impact. It is a broad spectrum. The superstars, the top guys in AEW are going to be what I would call mid to low level WWE guys.
Yeah.
NXT does not have, when I look at the NXT roster top to bottom, those aren't mid to low level WWE guys. Those are developmental wrestlers who are in waiting trying to get to WWE. I will not argue that anybody on the NXT roster is better than Jon Moxley or MJF or Adam Cole. So that to me is why I think that AEW is the third tier. Now, does it span to below NXT? 100%. There's a lot of people on the NXT roster that are that are on the AEW roster that are below what I believe NXT wrestlers are. But as far as the top of AEW, I go, that is right underneath WWE. And like, you could pluck MJF out, put him in WWE, he works. He fits, right? Moxley could come back to WWE. He works. Now, I will not go as far as some people say, as to say that I don't know that MJF will ever be the best wrestler in WWF or WWE. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's a thing. I don't think Moxley could return to WWE and immediately go up to like Roman Reigns level. I don't think that's possible. He had the chance to do it. I get that it was bad storytelling, bad booking, all that stuff. I just don't see it. So then I go from AEW, I go NXT. So I go SmackDown, Raw, AEW, then NXT.
Okay.
I still believe, and I know this is where the disagreement is with some other people. I still believe that NXT is 100% developmental wrestling. And proof in point is the fact that next Tuesday, in order to combat the AEW kind of birthday celebration of Tony Khan, they're bringing main roster people down. If NXT was on the same level and it was a third brand, you wouldn't feel the need to stack that card the way you are with main roster guys.
Well, so part of the reason why I put NXT third was because you have people who come up and down from WWE.
Fair. But I think that's more of a marketing ploy than it is an actual like definition of the brand. I don't think they're bringing Becky Lynch down to like bolster that roster. I think they're bringing it down because they want to get eyeballs there. Then they're going to get her out and she'll be back on the main roster. There's zero chance that Becky Lynch stays on NXT for the end of her, like for the rest of her career. Right. And so while they may interchange certain people to kind of bolster the ratings of that show, I don't think that's indicative. To me, when I talk about the NXT roster, I'm talking about Carmelo Hayes. I'm talking about Braun Breaker. I'm talking about Tiffany Stratton and those people. I don't foresee Dominic Mysterio and Becky Lynch being mainstays on that roster for a long period of time. That's why I'm not willing. I'm just not willing to brand NXT the third arm of WWE. I definitely see it as a triangle. I definitely see it as there's Raw, there's SmackDown, and they are fed up by NXT. I refuse to believe right now that it goes Raw, SmackDown, and NXT all on this equal playing
field.
They're
like the minor league almost?
No, because that would, once again, if it's the minor league, it's a step below. I do believe it's the minor league.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying like, it's a third. I see it as the minor league. It is a step down from the main roster. That's just how I see it. But I wondered if you saw it that way, or do you see it as a third brand?
I think that it's a third brand of WWE, in my opinion.
So you truly believe that watching, so you would tell somebody to watch NXT at the same time as watching SmackDown, and think that? Well, then how that doesn't make sense.
Well, like. I think that it's part of WWE.
That's not what I'm asking. So I'm confusing you. Let's walk back. Let's walk back a little bit. when I say third arm, I'm speaking of each show. If you give each show a rating, let's say Raw A, SmackDown A, NXT's not A.
No, it's
B
C
or C. Yeah,
yeah.
So it's not on equal playing field.
Yes.
Right? I mean, there's no way you're going to tell me that the show that has Roman Reigns is the same as the show that has Carmelo Hayes as champion.
No,
that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm leading to.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So I go SmackDown, Raw, AEW, NXT. Then I have New Japan Pro Wrestling just because I understand how big it is for the IWC and how big it is in Japan.
Yeah.
Then I think Impact is this extremely niche product.
I don't know where to watch either of those.
It's Thursday nights. I don't know what channel it is, but I see that as it's extremely niche. It is for people who are fans of specific wrestlers. Like if you're a fan of Trinity or Naomi, then you tune into that show. If you like Mickie James, you tune into that show. But I have this hard time believing that there's any casual level fan who is tuning into Thursday Night Wrestling for the overall production they're getting.
I mean, because I would know where the fuck to watch it.
Exactly. That's my point is like, I don't think that many casual fans. Now does it have its own group of fans? Everything does.
For sure.
But I just, so that's the way I see the hierarchy of professional wrestling. And I'm not saying that's the correct way to see it. I'm saying I believe that is the casual vantage point of professional wrestling. I think that if you asked people who don't watch wrestling, if you went, what are the main wrestling shows? They're going to either tell you Raw or SmackDown. If you ask them about AEW, they're going to say, oh, that's that show that's supposed to be competition for WWE.
Yes.
Most casual fans, like outside of ones that are pretty interested in wrestling, may not even know what NXT is.
True.
And so if you go NXT, they're either going to go, that is that developmental brand of WWE, or they're going to go, what is that? I don't know. And then you get to New Japan Pro. That's even deeper of like a hardcore cut. And like I said, Impact, you almost have to know. I think like at one time when it was TNA and that, it was the equivalent of what I'm talking about with AEW, but it's fallen so far that I think at this point it is a niche product. All right, so let's talk about topic number 2 here. And this kind of falls right into what we're talking about. This kind of works. This show's going to kind of flow. So I had a question for you. Let's say you're trying to introduce somebody to professional wrestling. So like, let's say you're talking to a guy whose wife or girlfriend wants to get into pro wrestling. They want to watch it with them. What show, what match, what segment, what are you going to introduce them to get them interested and to get them to buy into pro wrestling? What would you show them?
So, was it just supposed to be WWE related?
No. I mean, I would only say WWE related because if I'm going to go invite somebody to watch wrestling, I think I'm going to invite them to watch WWE. Why would I invite somebody who I assume is going to be casual to watch AEW, which I assume is the least casual friendly product available? But you tell me your thoughts.
So when we start watching wrestling again, right, the match that kind of caught my attention that I was like, I could kind of like this again, which is totally random because I don't usually like stuff like this, was the match, the pizza cutter match, the
Texas Death Match with Jericho and Nick Gage.
Freaking loved that match. I thought it was so awesome. I just don't love all the blood and stuff like that, but I remember it was so like gross that I couldn't stop watching it.
That's interesting.
It is because it's not like what I want to do at all. I liked that one. And then
so do you think it was just the shocking nature of what it was because you didn't really know?
I didn't know who
you
they
knew
were.
Who Jericho was, but you didn't know who.
I think so. I think it was that it was so different that it made me intrigued by it. So it made it feel real.
And I will say, this is something I will say. Upon first watch of AEW, without knowing how they book in the context, it does read fairly interesting. When you see Moxley, Jericho, Orange Cassidy, MJF, it can be intriguing. I think that it was over time that I got turned off basically by the IWC and their unwillingness to allow me to view it with a casual set of eyes and like certain things that were casual. Like liking Orange Cassidy to an IWC fan is fucking insane. They think you're crazy.
I love Orange Cassidy.
I do too, but that was one of the turnoffs, was that like they immediately attacked when I would make videos about how much I enjoyed Orange Cassidy. They immediately attacked him. Were like, that's stupid. He's terrible. He's bad. He doesn't belong here. And so I think that was one of the things that turned me off. And I think just the booking of like inconsistent storytelling turned me off. But that's interesting. The blood and things like that. I could see how that,
and of course anything bloodline related.
Okay, so anything. So I'm opposite of what you're saying.
Really?
And I don't, but I think it goes to how we think, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think you think bloodline immediately interesting. I think unless you're going to show them 3 years of wrestling, the bloodline will make absolutely no sense. What one match are you going to tune them into with Roman Reigns that they're not going to go, this move's very slow, and why is that guy turning on that? It feels like the bloodline, you need a lot of context to stay involved in that story.
I mean, I could see that. I just, when we started watching again, that was just something that I gravitated towards because his presence in the whole.
So hold on, though. Slow down. Because I understand what you're saying, but you watched long term. I'm talking about you have one shot at this.
Oh,
you're going to sit somebody down in front of a TV and you're going to explain to somebody's girlfriend, somebody's wife, or a friend who doesn't watch wrestling, and you're going to explain, this is why I like this.
Yeah.
It's Brock Lesnar.
Well, the other one that popped in my head was Brock Lesnar versus Roman when he lifted up the ring.
Yes, 100%.
That one.
I agree, 100%. I have anything with Brock Lesnar or John Cena.
I like John Cena.
And I don't love John Cena, but I think that John Cena matches tend to appeal to casual fans. They tend to enjoy that. I think people see John Cena, he's recognizable. I think you see Brock Lesnar, he's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
And I think that another one would be Roman Reigns, maybe Drew McIntyre.
Oh,
It Clash at the Castle. Just because of how insane the crowd was.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. Let me hit you with this. How about Logan Paul?
Oh, that was an amazing
What if you introduce
definitely.
someone to Logan Paul and Seth Rollins? Logan Paul and Ricochet.
Snooki.
You know, you're not bringing it. I mean, Snooki, no. How about Rhea Ripley?
What Rhea Ripley match would you tell them about?
I don't even know if you need a match. If you just need to introduce them to the character of Rhea Ripley, there is a lot. Her dominance, the way she speaks, how she's a striking person to look at. Mm-hmm. I think that she immediately, like when we were watching with your brother, everybody gravitated immediately to Rhea Ripley, and you don't really know why. And that wasn't even when she was doing her thing with the Judgment Day.
Yeah,
it was even pre-Judgment Day. Uh-huh. I just think that first glance at Rhea Ripley immediately has people hooked. Same way I think Bianca Belair has a little bit of that appeal.
Yeah,
I think that showing somebody if I was
the Bianca and Becky stuff,
exactly. That's what I thought. Showing them from the moment that Becky came back and squashed Bianca.
Oh, when she just
remember the 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Showing them
that would be it.
That storyline and going, this is what wrestling is. It is a moment where this wasn't supposed to happen. It happened, and it was a journey for Bianca to get back to the top.
That was actually a pivotal moment in my wrestling, I guess.
It was good long-term storytelling.
Because remember, I was so mad at WWE because they would not let Bianca win.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was like, I just can't believe it. Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was mad, mad.
See, I tend to disagree because I think a lot of people would jump to going, well, show them Hogan versus The Rock. I don't think I want to introduce people who are fresh eyes to The Rock because it's like, hey, look how good The Rock was. You'll probably never see him again, right? You know who Hulk Hogan is, but he doesn't wrestle anymore. I don't like the idea of showing people matches to introduce them. Once they're in and they're kind of hooked, then you can go, you like this, go watch this.
Yeah.
But I don't think I want to hook them in with people that they're not going to see. I even think Rey Mysterio is a little bit intriguing. The way he flies, because I'm not a Rey Mysterio fan.
Yeah.
But the way he
moves
he's small,
is so crazy.
It's
like a little elastic rubber band.
And he's fluid. And his matches tend to be a little exciting. I think there's even Ricochet. Guys like that tend to be exciting. Gunther. I think Gunther's a good place to start. Gunther's somebody who I think just kind of epitomizes character.
Imperium when they come in is crazy.
So I think when you introduce new people that
you need characters.
Exactly. character works best. That's why I think Rhea Ripley, because even though she's not necessarily a character, she looks like a character. The
presence and everything, yeah.
And I think Gunther reads the same way. He reads big, big Austrian, like, general man. And so I think that, to me, that intrigues people in. But I wouldn't go real deep into Seth Rollins' catalog, because I think that would scare people. All the weird outfits and shit. They'd kind of be like, wrestling.
What about the Monday Night Messiah?
No, but I get it. If you went back that far, but he's not that. Once again, that's to understand who Seth Rollins is right now. I feel like you have to have rode somewhat of that journey with him to understand the evolution that got him to this kind of eccentric character that we see today. Because if you just turn on the TV and he's wearing lace pants,
you're like, what?
Somebody might be, what the fuck? Who? This is what you watch, dude? Mm-hmm. It's like, no, I promise, it's not as weird as it looks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I'd show him Kit Wilson and Pretty Deadly off. Eventually, once they're in, you go, oh, these guys are. The first time
I saw them, I was like, what the fuck is this shit, Dustin?
But now I think they're great. Mm-hmm. They're hilarious. Mm-hmm. I just don't know if that's where I start. New Day?
I like the New Day.
Right?
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
I know they're not as right now as big, but I still think they're intriguing. They're funny.
Yeah.
But that was kind of my thoughts. I don't think Seth Rollins, I think I would stay away from. That would probably be Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't think is super intriguing right off the bat. I don't like Charlotte Flair is good, but I don't know that she reads just phenomenal. I don't think if you don't know who Charlotte Flair is.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think people.
Asuka's pretty cool when she does like the mist and stuff.
Yeah, Asuka's cool. She's got a look. I think Bianca Belair is so physically her stature is so big and strong and athletic.
Becky, definitely.
Becky reads well. That's what I would do.
Yes, sir.
As far as matches go, I don't know that there's specific matches. I really like I said, doing the Becky to Bianca thing. I think to me in the last 3 or 4 years, that's the most kind of complete storytelling that there's been. That's like good versus evil that rose to a climax and ended in the right spot. Mm-hmm. All right, topic number 3. So we're going to kind of go back to AEW and WWE. But this past week, AEW had 800,000 viewers on the episode of Dynamite, even though this was Edge's first episode on AEW TV. And NXT had 857,000 with Dominic Mysterio as kind of the feature of the event. My question to you is, how long do you realistically think AEW is going to last?
I don't know why, but the number 2 years popped up in my head.
Well, that's interesting.
That's about what I give them. Only because I think you can only ride the train for so long. Eventually people's contracts are going to be up, right? They're going to want to do like what Jade did and move on up to the next thing. And if it keeps on going the way it is, like with the morale and everything, like this group of people kind of runs it. Just this is how I see it, right? There's this one group that they run it all. And if you don't do what they say, then they're just going to fuck with you. And if you don't like it, just too bad.
So you literally have the same thought basically as me. I mean, that's right where I went with it.
Oh, cool.
I said basically AEW's bleeding right now.
Yeah.
I don't care that you got Edge. It's not stopping the bleeding. You're bleeding. Right now, you are trending down. You had this really big moment where you went overseas to a place that you've never been. You sold thousands and thousands of tickets and you made everybody believe. And then you came back home and reality set in. And the reality was you're bleeding. The company is bleeding. And the IWC can use all of these weird metrics that they want to use of like narrowing it down to like, well, between the ages of 18 and a half and 21.4, we're leading all television. And it's like,
great.
No, overall, you guys are in trouble. You're not beating NXT. You're not competing with main roster WWE anymore. You are really dangerously close to being statistically the third wrestling company under NXT.
Yeah.
And so
it's like what I said.
Yeah, no, I agree. The problem is there was a day where they were competition for WWE. That day's come and gone. Mm-hmm. They are now treading water. And kind of like you said.
Like when CM Punk first came back. I thought like, oh, this shit's going to be awesome.
So look what I have right here. Losing CM Punk will be looked at from the future. We'll look back at that and go, that's when AEW died.
Yeah.
That was when they drew a line in the sand and they decided the direction they were going to go, and it wasn't CM Punk's direction. And look at the metrics. That's when the ship started to sink. Here's the problem, Lauren.
Okay.
What you said is exactly right. There's a clique of guys who run things. We know they're the elite. And everybody
Girls.
the elite doesn't run things. Yeah, they do. They do. They're Tony Khan's little babies. The elite have already proven what their ceiling is. They're not Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Adam Page. They're not going to do 1 million pay-per-view buys.
True.
They constantly have to reach out and go, we need Edge. We need CM Punk. We need to bring in these feature names. We need Adam Cole. We've got to keep bringing in outside talent because what we consider our top guys aren't really our top guys. They're just controlling everything. And when your company is controlled by guys who can't perform at the top level, you put a seal. There's a glass. It's not even glass. It's a metal roof on the company.
Okay. I get it.
They can't break through. You really think that the elite are going to let Edge go be the man and take over their spot? No, they're going to go. Edge needs to fall into what we're doing and have these same dream matches that we have, and we don't want to appeal to casual fans. That is the problem. The problem is that Tony Khan decided, along with Kenny Omega, that we are just going to appease the IWC. And the problem with the IWC is they're not a growing group of fans.
Well, my first thing about Edge, right? Well, Edge is cool to have in AEW, right? Like, if I'm a new fan and I just started watching AEW, what do I really care about Edge? He's how old?
I agree, but by bringing Edge in and putting the company, basically the fate of the company on Edge, that's exactly what they're saying is we don't want new fans.
Yeah,
we want the fans that we have to be happy, and that's great. If 800,000 is where they want to live, then they're doing the exact right thing. The problem is when Tony Khan spits out this we're competition, we're not number two, there's some funny term he likes to use, like we're an alternative something, but you're not anymore. You're not, and you prove that by going after Edge and by letting CM Punk go. CM Punk.
I have a question, real quick.
Go for
it. So CM Punk started the Saturday show, right, for AEW.
I would argue yes. I think there's people who will go, no, it was going to be started no matter what. But no, that show was started because...
Well, we only watched because he was doing it.
Well, and that show was started because the Elite and CM Punk couldn't get along. And so Tony Khan was like, I don't want to lose CM Punk. Let's move him to another spot. Let's move him to another show. I believe, yes, that 100% that show was started for CM Punk.
How are the numbers doing on that show?
Not very good.
Oh,
not
really?
Very good. No, they're not good. They're declining.
I wonder why.
They're declining. And the IWC keeps going, but they're great shows.
Oh,
if you'd watch them, they're great shows. But what they don't understand is what I just said. There's a ceiling for guys like Kenny Omega. He's not appealing to the casual audience. And the IWC, contrary to what they want to believe, they are a small, loud group of fans that are not growing. They're not multiplying. You're not getting new IWC members. You have the same IWC people sitting in their basement, bitching and complaining about WWE and how AEW is the greatest thing. And if people would just watch, they'd realize it. And it's a sinking ship because the problem is IWC is never going to be fucking happy. They turned on CM Punk. So eventually they just start to eat their own. They just keep moving the line farther and farther. There's no growth. But here is what I think is ultimately going to be, and you said this, and I think this is the reality. What's the next contract to fall? Who's the next? Losing Jade Cargill, IWC don't want to talk about it, but that was like outside of losing, you lost CM Punk, right? And I get it. They want to go, CM Punk was a cancer. He was a problem.
Yeah, you didn't want him anyways.
You can make that argument, and I'll entertain that argument. There's no argument to make for Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
You needed Jade. Jade Cargill was the centerpiece of your women's division.
Yeah.
And you lost her for no other reason than she viewed the other company as the bigger company.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing you can do about that. And so then it comes into play is who's next? Who's next? I mean, so you've got Kenny Omega locked down. Great. You've got the Young Bucks locked down. Great. I just said can't.
We stop calling them the Young Bucks? Because, like, at what point are they not young anymore?
Well, that's just like,
I know that's
Lil
their
Wayne
name
and stuff like that. It's just their name. But I mean, the reality is those guys have a ceiling. We know they're not going to compete. Those guys are not going to compete.
Yeah.
Those guys are mid-level wrestlers. They may be talented, but as far as drawing, they're mid-level drawing wrestlers who need outside talent to bolster their appeal.
Yes.
And so you lose CM Punk, you lose Jade Cargill. Who's next? MJF. They lose MJF, they're done.
Oh, 100%.
I'm 100%. I'm convinced. If they lose MJF, you can't survive that, because if you lose MJF and you lose Jade Cargill, the dominoes will start to fall. You will lose Ricky Starks.
That's the one that popped in my head.
You
will
lose
crazy.
Wardlow. You will begin to see the crumbling of AEW from the side. So I actually had the exact same thing. I had 2 years written down.
Really?
I think it's 2 years.
Damn.
Because I think we're coming up on this crucial point of if MJF stays or goes. And even if he stays, it's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
But if he stays, if MJF goes, it will just implode from the inside. If he stays, then you've got to start looking at piecing and building the company around MJF and not the Elite and not the Young Bucks and not Kenny Omega. But here's the problem. This is what I think is the bigger problem that a lot of people don't understand is Tony Khan is a black hole. I don't think Tony Khan just shuts it down.
Okay. Tony
Khan will throw money at this thing. And what you will see is he will start to hire a bunch more edges. And by edges, I mean these old, out of kind of touch wrestlers who have name value, but they're outside of that, they're not going to put on.
We're going to see Mick Foley and Ric Flair and
guys
all
like
of them
that.
come back.
Guys like that. It's names like that have appeal to wrestling fans, but don't have the same appeal to casual fans.
Yeah.
But then he'll go one step farther. He'll buy Impact Wrestling. And then he'll go buy New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
And he'll start absorbing companies as he's demising. There's a chance he creates a black hole in wrestling because he could take a bunch of these companies with him.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
And that, to me, that is the biggest problem. He'll scratch and claw on his way out the door. I don't foresee him just one day showing up and going, all right, I'm shuttering the doors. This is over. I think that he starts making these last second, there's a chance he starts offering all this money to people who don't deserve the money, and you get all these weird contracts. And that's why I think,
or like even buying up people just so that they can't be on
exactly.
TV.
Yeah, no, just you can have $50 million if you just come do 4 matches. And so what you might get is, as it goes down, as the ship starts sinking, he may throw a bunch of money in resurgence just a little bit, but it won't be sustainable.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh shit, I'm just going to use Seth Rollins as a name, right? I gave Seth Rollins $100 million, something he couldn't refuse.
Yeah.
And he came back for 4 matches, but I can't pay him that forever. I could just, enough to keep us alive. All right.
Yes, sir.
Last topic. Okay. Fastlane predictions.
All right.
There's 5 confirmed matches. We have not watched SmackDown, so if there was a match added tonight,
then we don't know yet.
We won't know about it. So we're talking about the 5 matches. I asked you to predict the 5 matches and then bring a couple predictions. Did you get that?
I didn't get the last part.
Okay,
I didn't.
That's all right. Then I'll just make predictions.
Yeah.
All right. So we have the triple threat match.
Okay.
Charlotte, Io Sky, and Asuka. What you got?
Oh, I chose. Let me go back to my list. I chose Asuka.
Really? You think they're gonna go back to Asuka?
I think so.
What makes you think that?
You
tend to be right, so I'm not questioning you, but
I just like Asuka, and I feel like she should be.
You think they're abandoning Io? I keep saying Io Sky, and people hate when I say that.
So Io, I'm not gonna lie.
Sky.
While I do like her, I don't. How do I put this? I don't want to be mean. She doesn't have that energy that I need. That I'm looking for. Does that make sense? There's a different energy level between her and Asuka, and I feel like Asuka has it.
Do you think they don't? I mean, do you think they need to give her more opportunity? Like, we haven't seen her in many stories. Like, I still think there's something between her and Bayley that can exist that would be good.
No.
Okay.
Because
I got Io.
What's her name? Blonde girl
Charlotte?
that they gave. No, that I like her. She dresses like Britney Spears. I can't think of it. Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan?
Yeah. I mean, they just need to give her more opportunities to be a champion?
Well, she got 3-4 months. I don't think Io's had it, but a month, maybe 2. Money in the Bank, like 2 months, maybe.
Yeah, but how fast do we want to write her off, though?
Well, so I think
not being good.
We're in an experimental time right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what is it. So if that's the argument, then you go Charlotte Flair, right? You just give it back to your person that you know is going to.
I think Asuka.
So okay, so I'm going Io Sky, and I'm going to explain to you. Here's why Charlotte was added.
Okay.
Jade Cargill comes out and attacks Charlotte during the match.
Ooh.
That'd
be good. That would be a good match.
And somehow leads to Io Sky
versus her
retaining, and then what they're going to do is they're going to just continue the Io Asuka story.
Io Asuka.
And I think then you do Jade Cargill and Charlotte.
That'd be cool. I'd like to see that.
LWO versus Street Business.
I chose LWO just because I feel like the LWO always wins.
You're not wrong. So I don't think
What's his name? Little Flippity Flip?
Ray?
Yeah. If he's in there, I feel like they're just like, oh, Ray wins.
I agree. You're not wrong.
Fucking sick of it.
You're not wrong. It does feel like every time I bet against Rey Mysterio, he wins. I don't think either of these teams can afford to lose.
Yeah.
So I think it goes to shit, and I don't think anybody wins this match. Is that a fair? Can I say that? Mm-hmm. Double DQ?
Mm-hmm. It's very possible.
Or do I want to go LWO?
I'm going LWO
because of DQ. I just feel like Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits have this ability. They have the possibility to be so interesting.
I agree.
But I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I want this to
There's
lead.
like a disconnect.
Yes.
It's like a There's
they keep going. You keep hearing Montez Ford. They love Montez Ford. But how long can you keep saying that before? Like, Montez Ford should be United States champion right now. I believe. What I want from this is I want this to turn into, at some point, Montez and Rey Mysterio in the ring together fighting, and that then bleeds over to a United States Championship match.
That'd be cool.
I'm gonna go Street Business.
Okay.
I call them Street Business. All right, Finn and Damian versus Cody and Jay. What do you got?
Cody.
You think he wins the tag team titles?
Yeah. I'm just going with my pure guts.
I get it. And a lot of times you're right. I tend to overthink these. How do you give it to him and then take it away at some point? That's my only fear. Is where does he lose it then?
Where the fuck they went to? Because half the stuff they do doesn't make sense to me.
That's true.
So it could be like some sort of like we just figured out that this didn't count because blah 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 blah.
No, that ain't happening. I believe that. I think Finn and Damian win. I think the fact that Dominic won his title back, I think they've got more in store for the Judgment Day in the next couple weeks and months.
Possibly.
I think that more than likely something happens to cause a rift between Jay and Cody. Mm-hmm. Like Kevin Owens gets involved. I can see Kevin Owens' heel turn here.
Oh, okay.
I can see Kevin Owens coming out, getting mad, stunning Cody Rhodes, stunning. So here's what I really think. I think we could come out of this with Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens in the future, because they're not protecting Kevin Owens anymore, and they need a name. Cody can't keep coming out and just cutting promos.
Yeah.
So you could do for the next couple months Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. I could see that.
That'd be
not
cool.
saying it's happening, but okay. So I got Finn Damian.
Okay.
You got Cody J.
Yes, sir.
Seth versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
I have Seth Rollins.
I have Shinsuke.
Hey, we're just so different on this card.
But this is what you just said a second ago. This is me purely wanting this to happen. I've already booked this out in my head.
It's going to happen like this, and then this.
No, I mean, I have. So this is what I do, where Fastlane could be a great show, but if it doesn't go the way I want it, I'm more than likely going to leave disappointed.
I like going in without expectations, because then I don't feel that way.
Well, my expectations are so fucking far out there. The problem, I have CM Punk interrupting this match.
Well, when he doesn't come, then we're going to be sad.
He's not going to.
But he could, though.
He could, and it would be. I've booked this out. I swear to God.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. What'd you book?
Well, I've said it the last 3 weeks. The way you book this is you have CM Punk attack Seth Rollins and take him out of action. Mm-hmm. He attacks him, beats the shit out of him. He's injured. You have Shinsuke Nakamura win the title. Then at Survivor Series, you have Shinsuke Nakamura versus CM Punk. It's an IWC wet dream. They love that shit. They love Shinsuke versus. It's like a dream match. It's the AEW style of booking, but it also CM Punk can win that title, the World Heavyweight title, and CM Punk can carry WWE through what I call the dark winter. That dark period of time where there's not a lot going on. If CM Punk is the guy you're featuring on Monday Night Raw every week as your world heavyweight champion, kind of the anti-WWE guy, the anti-AEW guy, and you're featuring him every week as the world champion, not number one, it's a big fuck you to AEW.
Yeah.
Number two, it begins this epic build towards WrestleMania where I have Seth Rollins coming back, Royal Rumble, winning the Rumble, challenging CM Punk at WrestleMania, and the night one main event is CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. If you don't book it that way, I'm gonna be fucking pissed off, Triple H.
I was literally just thinking in my head, like, where can I watch this?
That has to happen. And now, the only thing I'm gonna say is it may not happen at Fastlane. They may have. I believe that there's talk of that. It's just probably not at Fastlane.
Yeah.
Bloodline versus John Cena and LA Knight.
I have LA Knight.
Me too.
I just feel like it's his time.
Well, I think Roman needs something to be disappointed at when he comes back. They're selling us on the story that like Jimmy Uso is kind of stepping out of bounds, and the other day he did the give me the microphone to Paul Heyman. I don't know if you saw that. So he's kind of stepped in and like overstepped his position.
Yeah.
So I think that Cena and Knight get the win. Crowd goes crazy. It's a great way for everybody to be excited. But also it gives when Roman comes back, because I think I read before we came on that Roman announced he's coming back like on the next SmackDown.
Yeah.
Next week after Fastlane. So it's great way for Roman to come in and kind of discipline and reestablish the bloodline and get everybody back in line. It's coming off of a loss and not a win.
Yes, sir.
So my predictions I know you didn't do them. I had Jade Cargill gets involved in the women's match.
Okay.
I had Seth and Shinsuke Nakamura main eventing the show and CM Punk being teased in some form or fashion.
Okay.
And then I had, I think that there will be some interaction between Jimmy and Jey Uso on the show. I
don't know where any of that's going.
They'll
honestly.
walk past each other.
Where do you think this is headed?
It's headed towards WrestleMania. It's going to be Jimmy versus Jey at WrestleMania. They're just stalling right now.
What is the end story, though?
The fault of the bloodline. The bloodline's going to collapse at WrestleMania, I believe. Yeah. I do believe that. Then one extra thing is I think Pat McAfee shows up.
Oh, I love Pat
It's in his
McAfee.
hometown.
Yeah. Hello.
It's a premium live
event. He's got to be there.
Now, I don't know
if he's going to compete or just show up.
Well, let me walk that back.
Okay.
He was in Austin today.
What does that mean?
For College Game Day. And I think he would have to fly out. He would have to fly out from Texas because I believe he's going to be at the UT Oklahoma game. So I may walk that back, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Oh, I think he would. He'd be that crazy enough to be like.
Well, it's not that long of a flight from Austin to Indianapolis to get back home. You got to go home anyway.
I mean, not that I know. I really don't know how far it is, but yeah.
That's what I have.
Well, all right.
All right, but that's it.
Yeah, when you said predictions, I was like, I'm predicting who's winning. Duh.
No, I meant like because there was only 5 matches, but we predicted very differently.
Yeah.
I thought it's fun too. So what this is parlaying into is in the future, starting our Survivor Series.
Okay.
Me and Mike are going to be doing a show.
Okay.
That is just premium live predictions. And I'm just kind of testing it out.
All right.
Testing it out with you.
I hope that I win all these predictions.
I hope so too.
Because I'm an expert.
That's it for this week, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out the Raw and SmackDown post shows every week, as well as the Champ and the Chick show on this same channel. Go grab yourself a casual wrestling t-shirt, and while you're there, make sure to hit the like and share button on this video. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the show. I will see you guys on Sunday this week, because this being Friday in a premium live event weekend.
It's exciting.
It is exciting. I'm excited. A lot of people are down on Fastlane. I'm not. I think it's gonna be a good show. I really do. It's a 3-day weekend.
I like 3-day weekends.
So lot to be excited about.
Yes, sir.
But as always, I'm the Notorious Nerdy D. This is Level Up Lauren. Stay casual, guys. I'm tapping out, and you can ring the final bell.
Ding, 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 ding.
Step in the ring, if you ready, let's go. Hey, casual wrestling community show. You already know, talking WWE. Keep it rolling and hosted by Notorious Nerdy D. Dope show that you gon' find. Tune in, cause it's online. Hit 'em with a figure 4 leg lock, power driver, or clothesline. We bringing that heat like the show.